Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gods and goddesses, to the Golden Age Gurus podcast, your source for regenerative, entrepreneurial, and eco-friendly global solutions using ancient future strategies that focus on healing ourselves, our community, and the planet. Now, it is truly an honor to introduce your host, Baba John.
Greetings, Golden Agers. It's May 11th, 2022, 8:30 in the morning, and I'm about to post this podcast, which is probably one of my more abstract, not sure if I'm going to lose everyone. It seems my most popular podcast so far is the one on toxic closets. So, not sure what this audience wants to hear about, but I know what I want to talk about, and that would be this new regenerative movement, which is growing fast. So basically, this word is replacing sustainability. Sustainability's just not good enough. And so I've been doing a lot of market research on this, and recently went to this conference in Mexico called Tribalize, and I connected with Tommy, and we talked a lot. And usually I'm kind of far out there. I put my crypto project in a incubator years ago, and they said I was early. So I'm usually, a couple years ahead of my time, and it's a breath of fresh air to talk to someone that can, hang with the conversation. Not only that, but school me. So he's bringing in his partner Musashi 13, and these guys just won a carbon negative NFT hackathon, and so they're going to be talking about that. But the main takeaway for me is this conversation around refi, not refinancing a home, but regenerative finance. So, I mean, most people in the world are barely even arriving at the conversation of DeFi, which is decentralized finance, which basically, the common layperson, if they have the skill, can now become their own NASDAQ. So DeFi is already being replaced with refi, which is, there's all this crypto money, and these guys want to fund projects that are regenerative. And that means carbon sequestering, green job producing, abundant engines are going to have way more access to funding than they had previous, which is one of the benefits of creating a DAO, which is a new kind of internet organization. First one was Bitcoin. So, just said a lot, and probably just need to listen to the show and see if it jives. If it does, check out the links that I put in the show notes. Explore, connect, and this new space is all about. Pretty much, I've heard it described as having a DAO orgy. Find projects you like, start, get into the Discord, start maybe attending meetings, and find your ecosystem. And so what I'm doing is I'm finding my tribe, and my tribe is doing regen for sure. So stay posted. We'll have more to talk about in the future months. Definitely going to a few events in June, and in Austin there's going to be a pretty big regen convergence happening. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and cut to the podcast. This show is brought to you on Patreon, where creators are supported by their tribe. For the cost of a latte, you can support the show and my advocacy around fringe legal topics ranging from zero waste and Bitcoin to matters of spirit. I'm committed to serving mankind by providing thousands of years of ancestral wisdom. Learn from my gurus, join my network, and get exclusive content. We have a free tier so you don't have to worry about money, a support tier for just a few bucks, and an apprentice level for aspiring Jedi interested in my mystery school and nature-based ministry. We have a VIP business tier for CEOs who want their own wizard. Just remember, King Arthur had a Merlin and Queen Elizabeth had her John Dee. Historically, I've charged way more as a consultant, but while I wrap my last year of law school, I'm willing to help just to get this new platform going. You'll have access to me with the Voxer app and get access to the Advocacy Launchpad and Discord. Sponsorship is sold separate. If you're interested, message and visit patreon.com, patreon.com/Golden Age Gurus. Follow for free and support if you can. All right. Well, welcome to Golden Age Gurus. We got two gurus on the line. Tommy Koma.
Yep. And Musashi 13.
Musashi 13.
You can call us Guru A and Guru B if you want.
Guru A and Guru B. Repping ReVesture.
Yeah, ReVesture.
So I met Tommy at Tribalized Conference in Tulum, Mexico, which seems to be a hub for things that I like to do. And there were a bunch of projects there, and I chatted with Tommy a lot, and he pretty much blew my mind with his ability to hang in the conversation, which is is over people's head, you know. Most of the world is not here yet, so I thought I'd have you guys on, and we can have a conversation about this stuff.
Yeah, thank you. There's a lot going on in all the intersecting spaces. DAOs, Web3, refi, regenerative movements. I mean, Tribalize was pretty cool because it brought together that on the ground village building aspect to the kind of more, like you're saying, complex Web3 part that a lot of people haven't caught on to yet or really even know how to approach.
Right. But the bottom line is the legacy systems really don't look out for our best interests all the time. So a lot of people all over the world are making better systems. And the jargon that's being used a lot is regenerative.
Yeah, that seems to be the new trend word, right? Sustainability doesn't exist anymore. Now it's regenerative.
Right. So it's almost jargon at this point, but I know you started using another word called refi. What is that short for?
Yeah, so refi is kind of the new DeFi movement, and DeFi, as I think that you've kind of mentioned before in other episodes, is decentralized finance. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of the farms and the pools and stuff going on the Web3. But refi is even one step further of using the DeFi Legos that build the ability to have liquidity pools and such, and using it for regenerative projects, so it's regenerative finance. So it's the places that we're starting to see on-chain carbon offsets and carbon credits that are mirrored and attached to, I'll say, IRL or in real life asset contracts or carbon credits. So as one example, the refi movement are looking for ways to create long-term impact solutions for people to participate in carbon sequestration and carbon offsets, and creating new systems for that specifically.
Awesome. So Guru B, how does Musashi, how do you plug in to this with Tommy? What are you guys working on with this ReVesture project?
Well, it's kind of started off as a marketplace that would allow for you to grab a hold of wearables, avatars, built out metaverse spaces, even workshops or meeting spaces, but be able to do this while actually helping save the planet at the same time. So rather than have some of your random friends say that your NFTs are killing the planet, now you can say, hey, my NFTs are actually saving the planet. They're not only part of the movement from sustainability to regeneration is, that it's not enough to just sustain what we have going on, because it's kind of crappy. So it's we realize sustaining is not what we need. Regeneration is what we need. So to regenerate the land, regenerate the energy, regenerate the water, whatever it is, we need to replenish. And so that's kind of the direction that we've been going. And now it's moved, in concept right now, it's moved further a bit beyond just a marketplace for just metaverse items that might be or may not be attached to real world items, but maybe ReVesture becoming more of a part of the tech stack, becoming more of a part of the underlayer at the contract level, helping not only a marketplace, but any contract or any platform protocol built on any network or an entire network to be able to implement these contracts, this open source code, and basically turn their project, their network, their token, their wearable, whatever it is, into a regenerating asset that's helping to regenerate the planet in a positive way.
Nice. So maybe we just backtrack a little bit and you guys can give a little background on yourselves and how you got into this space.
Yeah, so when I think about this space, it makes me think about crypto, Web3, DAOs, refi, DeFi, regenerative. And to answer how I got into each of those, could each be their own podcast maybe. But I'll do a really quick overview. So I've worked in different movements for sustainability and regenerative actions on the ground with permaculture and syntropic farming and village building for many years. Some of that led me towards the technology side of things that I see as a really good tool and system that can be worked with to make these things happen in a good way. So it brought me into the Web3 space. I was already kind of dabbling with crypto and different trading and watching that over the years. But the added layer of Web3, and when we say Web3, we mean like moving beyond the Web2 aspect of sort of the social media, world that we've all been living in for many years now, and bringing it back to the people a little bit, having people own their information, and creating a new interactive layer on how we can engage with each other. A lot of that has to do with connecting your wallet to dApps, and I know that you've had some recent podcasts about that, so I won't go too far into that. But so some of the projects that we've worked on, or that I've worked on in the past, and where I met Musashi, is through Metagame and Moloch Digital, Moloch Cloudship. And Metagame is, to sum it up as brief as possible, a onboarding machine for DAOs. We're working on a toolbox of tools that people can use and DAOs can use to get more involved in the Web3 space. They're building a Meta OS and a My Meta profile system that allows people to connect with each other, and has integrations like achievement badge NFTs and bounty systems that allow you to create tasks and have them completed and checked. And yes, so we saw this awesome Planet Positive NFT Hackathon, and some of us that had already been working together now for, I don't know, maybe over a year in various different groups and DAOs, decided that we could team up and focus our energy there. And that's kind of what fast forwarded us to here now. I don't know if that fully answers the question, but Guru B has some more to say.
Yeah, I'll try to also make my story kind of brief. How I kind of got into Web3 was, first of all, I was already in my life for over a decade before I ever even heard of crypto or Bitcoin. I was already getting out of the rat race, out of the normal system, out of a normal job. I became a full-time nomad about 16 years ago, maybe 17 now. And, just found ways to get, I went through this thing in my head, and actually with notepad and pencil, wrote out the value of a volt, of a joule, of a calorie, and started doing math on, how much I put into this standard job I'm working that makes me feel like crap. That gives me no time to even think about what things really matter to me, let alone the time to actually do them. And so I wrote out, how much of my actual life force, my energy that I was putting forth, how much it's worth. I'm trading it for dollars to then trade them for the things that I need, and then calculated how much it would cost for me to put my energy directly towards what I needed. So, if I needed to buy a basket to collect potatoes, then, I calculated it and made my own basket versus bought my own basket. And every single time, it was ridiculous the amount of money that I was losing in exchanging my energy for these dollar bills, and then exchanging that for what I needed. And that's what led me down this nomadic path, and then down this permaculture, eco-village. My whole life from that point on was lived in these eco-villages, helping them to become more self-sovereign, energy sovereign, water sovereign, food sovereign, self-sufficient, and help build infrastructure. And when I heard about Web3, when I heard about blockchain technology, it was like the extra tools that I needed on the financial side, first of all, because I gave up a lot of high-paying jobs to live this lifestyle. And in doing so, you get a large amount of peace and a large amount of time to think about what really matters to you and take action on those things. But you also, you learn a different way of living. Like maybe a little bit more in the past, trade and barter. I did a lot of work for farmers and, exchanged that for feed for my animals or for animals to eat or vegetables to eat. And it was a lot more worth it. And it felt good and it was more healthy. And it was more healthy for me to do it myself as well. And so the blockchain technology just really empowered me financially first. And then I saw, when I started to get involved with some of these DAOs, I saw, oh, wow, all the power struggles and governance issues that you come into play when starting a small community. These power vacuums are always there when you start a new community, and they get filled, whether it's intentional or not, whether it's malicious or not. A lot of like shadow governance goes on. A lot of, power imbalance happens, and it's just not healthy for the community at all. And so these DAOs offered these frameworks that mitigated a lot of the issues that we were dealing with in real life that that we didn't have answers for really yet. We were experimenting with all these different governance styles and structures, frameworks that we found throughout time. All these different communities just go back in time, try all these different things, and then try a new thing and see what works. And that's what, I saw now these DAOs are doing the same thing that all these in real life communities are doing. And now I'm trying to connect them all together. And same as Tommy, I've been working with all these communities, trying to be more self-sustainable, as well as help treat the planet better, be better stewards of the planet. Now we're kind of connecting these DAOs like, okay, you're doing the right thing. These communities are doing the right thing, and you both have what each other needs. And so we're really just trying to not only help build the tools and the infrastructure on the code side, on the internet stack or the blockchain stack side, but we've been doing the in real life boots on the ground work for a long time, and we're really excited now that we're finally seeing these DAOs and these platforms about ready to take on and onboard these in real life communities and provide them with those with that empowerment and those freedoms.
Beautiful. So sounds pretty much like the same story that I have, which is went into a warehouse and tried to organize with people, and a lot of people did some dumb shit. and the project went kablooey. And then because when you're organizing, you start getting momentum, and people do start going into this survivor mode, like who's the king or who's the queen of the ecosystem. And it becomes kind of like I have noticed the power plays where I call it friendly fire, like when you're on the same team and someone's eating the cake that's supposed to be shared. So the DAO is like a decentralized autonomous organization. It's a new kind of digital company. People that don't think it applies to them just think of how television went from analog to digital, and music went from analog to digital, and money went from analog to digital. So now that's what companies are doing. And so essentially it's creating your own little, it's your own organization that's managed differently. And you have to trust the code that writes the rules for the company instead of people. So they call that trustless. But, it's not a perfect science or anything.
Yeah, it's definitely not a perfect science. And I would say that a lot of DAOs, or a lot of organizations that are labeling themselves as a DAO are going about things differently. Not everything is this trust list written into code. You know, some people have things that they vote for on chain using a wallet, such as a multi-sig wallet for the DAO. You know, that is say like the DAO treasury, and you have multiple signers that are able to decide together how to use the money that sits in that multi-sig treasury. That's definitely one aspect of a DAO, but many things happen kind of as soft proposals off chain for different people on how to organize together, and that still really integrates the people part with the trustless code part. So there's like it's not taking people out of the equation. It's really just empowering people to make the equation a little more efficient.
Yeah, and empowering people to have the confidence to fail. I think a lot of what our legacy system has provided for us in somewhat stability in our past has suffered in it being immovable. And blockchain technology and these Web3 stacks offer that ability for you to test in a safe environment first, deploy in an environment easily and quickly, and be more like water and flow and change as necessary. So like the legacy system is kind of like a stone tablet, and they have etched in what they're going to do. Now we can change that stone tablet. We can roll that boulder that they've put in place, but it's going to take time and a lot of effort. But Web3 technology is more like water, where we're putting in some natural dye into the water and letting it disperse. And if we need to change that color a little bit, we can, and that's okay. And so like just taking a DAO framework, like things can change if it's not working well for your community. Like, hey, we just needed some more time for voting on issues, so we just changed that parameter in the code and lock that in as the community voted it to be that way. So I think that's a big thing, not being afraid to fail and experiment, because you'll never find the new best thing without being willing to fail.
Yeah, and I would say that that's kind of a good segue into what you were saying, Musashi, about, we in a very short amount of time we entered this hackathon and pulled together all these fragments of ideas that we already either had or had in the works, and created a product of this marketplace for metaverse assets. But the farther that we got into creating this, the more that we realized our focus is more on the smart contracts that are making it possible. And so we've been very open and collaborative with other groups that are also working on different NFT projects and different refi things to start building together this stack, this smart contract, that we can then apply to many other things. So yes, we're applying it to our, I'll say, product of the marketplace, because that's the front facing end that is engaging and fun to see. But really it's kind of forcing us down the line to start playing around with new ways to use smart contracts and new ways to use these protocols like Toucan protocol that has nature carbon ton credits on chain. And so that's a whole rabbit hole in itself that we can dive down a little bit. But yeah.
Yeah, Toucan looks sexy. Toucan protocol carbon bridge. Dang.
Yeah, so Toucan Protocol has been doing some really awesome things. They first teamed up with ClimateDAO and did base carbon ton credits and had a liquidity pool with Clima to do that were more focused on carbon offsets. And their new iteration, Nature Carbon Tons, goes one step further to really work with carbon sequestration. So what we definitely want to not do is just create this kind of washed token of a carbon credit on chain that isn't actually doing much, but like letting people kind of pat themselves on the back for saying they bought some carbon credits that may or may not actually be retired to the action on the ground. So that's where we're really digging into the contracts and making sure that it goes through the full process of offering you a actual certificate that says my token here led to this project happening on the ground for carbon sequestration in whatever place that it's happening, right?
Yeah, Klima and Toucan, both of these protocols have done phenomenal work in achieving the goals that they set forth to achieve, which, you know, one of those was to stop the double spending of carbon credits in the legacy market. There's a lot of that goes on, a lot of wash trading, a lot of embezzlement, all sorts of stuff through this. So they, by blockchaining this in the way that they did it, it pretty much prevents double spending, and it incentivizes you not to try to do that, but to do it in the proper way. The other thing is the price of energy. They want to raise the price of energy, and I think they're. I watched one of their interviews or their presentations at ETH Global, and I can tell they don't feel like they've done that job yet, but I think they have already. It's just that it takes a little bit of time for a lot of that market liquidity to move over into this area, but B, for the price discovery. You know, it's just beginning, and I think over not a very long period of time, over a fairly short period of time, next few months, I think individuals, investors, and especially companies will understand the process of what's going on here, and they will realize, all right, this is the type of credits that we want to buy, that we're going to need legally eventually down the road, not far from now. Those frameworks are very clearly being laid out by local municipalities, nation states, and even UN and global summits that are into energy renewables. So the only action that we don't see incentivized yet is that final action, which is, you know, yeah, great, we got the businesses and individuals to buy and hold these carbon credits, you know, TCO2, CO2 credits. They're wonderful, but if you don't spend them, you don't put them into action, nobody's planting a tree for you, nobody's cleaning up some plastic, nobody's doing these regenerative works unless it's retired. And so that's that layer that we want to incentivize, and actually we've been talking about it. We started off saying, hey, let's incentivize the investor, the company, the individual to go that extra mile, that last step, and retire your TCO2, put it into action. To maybe we don't have to incentivize them. Maybe we just make it a part of the action. You know,
Yeah.
If you're already interested in buying nature carbon tons, or buying your wearables with nature carbon tons, however it works out, you've already got that mindset. Why don't we just make it one transaction, one process? When you buy something on that market, or you use that contract, it's going to automatically retire these TCO2s. You have an on-chain receipt that can be used in regulatory laws to cover your carbon footprint, and not even make it a choice. Why should it? We have to be responsible for our energy in the first place. And this is one way we can do it. So I think that's more what we're looking at now.
Yeah, and also I would say that we started also with the idea of, in addition to just the carbon offsets and what we're saying, being able to automate that process to end up with a actionable. We've talked about the best integration for adding a layer to, in the same transaction that you are offsetting carbon and getting this credit, you're delegating a percentage of your dividends, of your royalties and your revenues from the NFTs that we're creating to directly fund regenerative projects through platforms such as giveth.io. We're still working out the exact details for how to make that a seamless, user-friendly process. But so in one transaction, you'll be able to do two things. You'll be buying this carbon credit that auto goes through the process of becoming an actionable step, and you're donating positively to something that's actually already planting the trees or whatever, that is in addition to the action created by the carbon offset. And then on top of that, we're operating on Polygon currently. We do plan to be cross-chain, but at this moment we're on Polygon. And part of the reason that we chose to work with Polygon is because this year alone, in 2022, they made a $20 million pledge to make the entire chain, the entire network of Polygon, every transaction be carbon negative.
Nice.
So on top of a carbon negative chain, we are creating more carbon negative and climate positive actions. So we're looking to create a marketplace and contracts that are actually climate positive. They're not carbon negative. They're actually going beyond that. So it, the Web3 and the NFT world gets a lot of kickback for consumption, energy consumption, etc. Right? But we just want to make it clear that we're not operating on Bitcoin. That's huge power sucker. We're not on Ethereum before they move to proof of stake. We're operating already on a chain that is actively making moves towards being carbon negative and beyond.
Yeah, and that's a chain that's already a whole heck of a lot less consumptive than some of the layer ones. And to add to that, Tommy already mentioned one layer that adds to, you purchase, say on the marketplace, you purchase a wearable, you've basically purchased nature carbon tons and redeemed them for TCO2, and then burned that NFT to have an actionable receipt. Someone planted trees in that transaction. But you also donated to a regenerative project on Giveth. Well, Giveth has this thing called the Give economy and a Give stream. And so when you give to a charity, a 501c3, whatever project that's verified on Giveth, and there are thousands already, you are given a Give stream, a certain portion of Give tokens that can then be reinvested into more projects. So you're now a part of this Give economy where you have these Give tokens that you can basically, they compound on each other. The more that you give, the more that you get in your Give stream. Over the course of the next 5 years, that Give stream is going to continue to give you Give tokens every time you've given to a project. And Giveth is on XDAI, who hasn't yet made a pledge like Polygon has, but they are also a layer 2 that, they're Gnosis chain now. It's been a long time they've been XDAI. So Gnosis chain is already a layer 2, just like Polygon, where they're very low consumptive layer 2 chain already. So really cool added layer to that puts you a part of an economy that's giving to regenerative projects on a regular basis. And it's very cool.
Yeah, we built on Gnosis Chain our DAO infrastructure for SaveDAO, which I just wanted to give you guys a scenario, okay? Because pre-COVID, wrote a white paper about the waste, decentralized waste, and essentially we won a hackathon and built a smart dumpster. Tells you when it's full, saves some companies money. COVID broke out, and I just shelved it for a little while. And but the bottom line is, the idea is like some kind of proof of recycle when something gets diverted from the landfill, or a proof of reuse. And obviously that would lower carbon. So like compost, for example. So can you see a way that, I mean, what exactly did you guys build at this hackathon, and could what you're saying be used to carry that function out? It sounds like it could.
Yeah, so I'm doing some really quick scrolling here through some of the hackathon chats. There's actually a project that I think you'd be really interested in, and it's all about clean to earn. So they're doing plastic recycling, I think, is their focused right now, or plastic cleanup of things such as beaches, where you can come collect the plastic and you're actually earning a token by participating. I'm having trouble finding the exact link in this moment, but I will find it before we're done here and make sure I get it to you. But as far as what we're doing, or what we set out originally to do, and like Musashi pointed out, we're definitely expanding our horizons and thinking a little bit more. So I don't know, one scenario that could happen with ReVesture, and something that we recently had some really exciting talks with some other communities about, is, so part of ReVesture is that we're focused on the metaverse side. And so when we say metaverse, we're specifically in this moment referring to things such as crypto voxels and Neos VR. You can look up Neos VR at neos.com, neos.com. Neos VR is built on the Unity engine, Unity gaming engine. So it does a lot of really cool things. You can drag and drop Blender 3D models directly into it. And Guru B here during the hackathon discovered that he could mint an entire world that he created in Neos as an NFT, with the settings included. And so we could put that NFT of, say, an entire world, and when I say world, I mean a virtual world. So think, for example, you got this great new plot of land, congratulations, and you want to start making some plans on it. And you and I did this awesome workshop together, making our ninja camp at Tribalize, right? Mm-hmm. So we all, in that workshop, we all got this piece of paper, and this piece of paper said, okay, there's a river over here, and there's some wells over there, and this is what the terrain looks like. And each group had a different scenario, right? A different starting point. And then from there, it was up to us to map out how we were going to meet certain criteria of productivity and sociability and living quarters and all these things, right? And it was great. We had a lot of fun. We got some markers, and we made an awesome ninja camp that had a panda protecting us, and it was wonderful. I had a lot of fun with that.
Our camp was in China.
Our camp was in China. They said we were supposed to be here in Riviera Maya, but you know, we had some bigger plans. But
We had a big boat.
So think if you took that workshop that we did and you made it an interactive actual planning. So all those templates could be an NFT on ReVesture that is just the base level of the world in VR. The whales over there, the rivers over there, the mountains over there, right? The sun comes up over there. In Neos, you can program different logics and physics. So if the sun is coming up over there, we can make objects respond to how the light's hitting it, right? So then if you had a model of, say, a solar panel or a wind turbine or a micro home that you've designed or a geodesic dome or something of that sort, right? And you wanted to go to the inventory of these items and drag and drop them into this new template world and play around with where you would put all of your eco-village building puzzle Legos, right?
Right.
You would be able to do that knowing that each one of those items, the solar panel, the windmill, etc., could already be a carbon offset or a carbon sequestered NFT that has carbon credits attached to it by purchasing it through the ReVesture program. Same with the world. So then you can drag and drop, create your perfect ninja camp, and then say, okay, this is our example. You can mint that entire example as an NFT and offer it to other communities to say, hey, this is how we think it would look.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can create this catalog of possibilities, right, that people can engage with, that people can then come into your world and see what's going on. You know, if the light's coming up on the left side there and the solar panel's way over in the bottom right, then, you know, maybe that's not necessarily the best place to put it. But if you move it and we have data collection for that, it can really start to create these, like, this impact of planning that doesn't require being on the ground and going through the trials and errors of, you know, figuring it out in the moment. You can play around with these already carbon negative options and do a lot without having to put a shovel to the ground, you know.
Our next sponsor is Mint Builder. Have you ever heard of the book, The Richest Man in Babylon? If not, you can check it out in the bookstore. But it's a classic business book that reveals the key to personal wealth. I'm going to give you that key, and it's basically saving 10% every month. So the way I like to save is in gold and silver with Mint Builder. I've been using Mint Builder for years and have attained master status. I have created a system where my savings plan pays for itself by signing up people who want to save and start a silver bank account, which ships physical coin out every month based on their budget. The author of The Richest Man in Babylon says that magic number is 10% of your income. Now you can build your legacy with the best pricing on metal assets while helping the nonprofit Feed My Starving Children, which uses 90% of donations for food to stop malnutrition in over 100 countries around the world. Thank you for considering Mint Builder to build your wealth and feed hungry children. You can go to mintbuilder.com/102026, or you can go to preciousmetaltrends.com/102026. Complete the form and claim your free silver bullion bar just for taking our short tour and brief survey.
So let's say I'm building a tire house on this land and I need tires. So someone that has tires that they were going to landfill could bring the tires here, drop them off, and get some kind of a proof of a carbon credit or a proof of reuse or whatever, right? Or am I tracking, or am I off a little bit?
I think you're tracking and you're beyond a little bit in a good way. I would say yes.
Story of my life.
No, it's great. It just sparked an idea for me. It's like, so yeah, okay, so-and-so's bringing you a bunch of tires, right? I guess the way that we would move it into the NFT metaverse kind of space is we would create some tires that represent, you just got 20 tires delivered, we would create some NFT or some 3D models that represent that, right? And maybe within that contract, as a nod and a thank you to the tire deliverer or the person that donated the tires to you, they could actually be written in the contract as receiving revenue and royalty splits for every time you use that tire in the planning of your world. That's just one quick example I could think of. I don't know, Musashi, maybe you could riff on that a little bit.
It's basically a tire NFT.
I've got a few ideas. I've written up a document called ReFiDAO, Decentralized Autonomous Humanity, and it is basically a gamified cleaning up of the earth, where you you basically clean up, go to a verified collection station, it gets weighed, and you get minted an NFT token that can be used inside the metaverse to then, it's basically the building blocks. It's the trash token, and it gets used within this factory as well. So like in the metaverse, there's a factory that has a bunch of 3D printers that use recyclable materials and pumps out these little items that you can use in the world. Well, in the real world, your plastics and the stuff that you are collecting are going to a recycling center that is then attached to a 3D printing center that uses recyclable materials from what you recycled. So those products are being sold in a store there or online, and you as a cleaner upper, you've got these tokens that can be used in the metaverse, but you can also cash them in for real world products in the store. So it has a real world value for cleaning up for you, and preferably those products would be more sustainable products with a little bit more focus in mind. And just to clarify about Neos, it's not technically built on or with the Unity engine. One of our team members, Bogey, likes to point out that it's basically Unity because it acts so much like Unity, but it's technically not. Unity is written in C++, and Neos is actually a brand new coding language called Logix, Logix, and it was created just for this metaverse. That's why this metaverse is so much different than any other metaverse out there. It's wild.
It is wild. Thanks for that clarification.
Well, it probably doesn't matter because it's probably above most people's head.
Totally. It's above everyone's head, even the ones who designed it.
we probably lost most people at DeFi.
Yeah.
Refi.
You got to refi and you refried my brain again.
Yeah. So I noticed in the demographics that most people that listen to this podcast are like 35 to 45. I noticed these generations coming in behind me. I'm 42. They're like they call them like crystal kids or rainbow kids.
Indigos, yeah.
Well, I'm an indigo.
Yeah, I'm the last year of Gen X, so I'm a part of your generation.
Okay. Yeah. So I noticed these crystal kids and rainbow warriors are sometimes already like in Web 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They passed Web 3.
Yeah. So all right, I just wanted to say that, I don't know how complicated we need to get because
and for the record, pretty much Gen X has built Web 3 so far.
Nice.
That's what I see.
Nice. Yeah, I mean the indigos are we're here for a reason.
Yeah.
And really, like, I also noticed that a lot of often the younger people lack the they're all in the green, you know, and it needs like economics and function, practicality, and so it took me my whole life to get to the point where I'm even thinking like that, because I wasn't for a long time. But that's trial and error and how I got here. I'm sure you guys as well.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, for your generation, my generation, Tommy's generation, you know, we were all kind of left with a raw deal,
yeah,
and we, you know, we pretty much put our middle fingers up and walked away from it, which probably wasn't the best thing for us to do. But by the time it got to the next generations after us, we already had our hands up, and they were like, well, what do you want us to do? You already gave up. And, you know, so finally you see the action coming out of our generations, and now, yeah, it's time for us to kind of come pass. It's almost time to pass it on, you know?
yeah. Well, and so here I am. I have a couple living labs, and could I put a piece of land into this Neos metaverse now? I mean, is it ready to rumble?
Totally. Yeah.
Nice. So would you say that should be the strategy, is metaversing your land project before doing things that are physical?
Well,
Not necessarily.
not necessarily. Am I muted or no? I'm sorry.
You're good.
No, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. Got some new headphones. Still figuring out how to work them. See, I'm a boomer too sometimes. So I wouldn't necessarily say that that's the only route to go. And that's kind of also us throwing out, yes, it is possible to do in this moment. We're just throwing that out also as a little bit of an opportunity down the roadmap for some of the cool things that this can offer. And the joy of mapping it out in the metaverse first is that you can invite other people. So for example, during this hackathon, the Planet Positive NFT Hackathon from RefiDAO, we teamed up with a lot of other projects, and these projects are all around the world. One of the people we're collaborating with is down in Brazil. Others are up in the States, some are in Europe. And, you know, they're working on different angles to this. And there's networks like the Bloom Network, who connects regenerative projects and all around the world. Was also, you know, members of their team were also part of the hackathon and created some cool new tools. And so what it would offer you is, if you do choose to do some planning in the metaverse, is to send it over to the person in Brazil. You know, you're up in Texas, you send it down to the person in Brazil. Yeah, okay, you're gonna have some different climates. So, you know, ideally we would have starting blocks that cater to the different regions and what's available to you, you know, the different climate zones, etc. But some of the things are going to be the same, right? And with them being the same and being able to try them out, you can really plan together some amazing things really fast. And then you could take it one step farther, where, you know, say for example, okay, a geodesic dome is a geodesic dome no matter where you are in the world, right? And a lot of geodesic domes come with 3 different lengths of a bar that go together in different triangles and create this really strong structure that can support a lot of weight and is cool to look at. Okay, so it takes a little bit of a second to learn how to construct that when you're in person. There's 2 lengths of the bar that are very similar in size, and you always mix them up, and somebody forgot to label one, and so forth and so on, right? So what if you could step into this VR space and you could pick up these different bars over here that are already color coded even, and you can actually go through and learn how to construct the geodesic dome before taking the power and the manpower to drag all those pipes over to your land, put them up over there, spend half a day fucking up, Sorry, excuse my language. And
It happens. It happens.
you know what
This isn't a podcast.
Yeah, that's right, 35 to 40-year-olds. So okay, good. So you kind of get where I'm getting at there, is that it can start to create new opportunities where you can really train people up, so then maybe throughout that integrating and collaborating with the project in Brazil, you've developed a working group of people that are now experts at putting together geodesic domes, and maybe ones that have a rainwater catchment system or some other added feature to them, right? So now you have this crew that may even be in different places of the world that you can call upon at any time to offer this new mastery skill to other village building projects, and they've all connected through this virtual platform.
Wow.
Yeah, another application to that is, say you've got this land and you're looking to build on it or to plant on it or whatever you're doing. What I've learned is when you first come on a land, you don't immediately start building on it because you don't know where the water flows, you don't know where the light flows, you don't know where it floods, where it's dry, where it's high, where it's low, all these different things. But you could take that land topographical map, drop it in Neos, and simulate physics of water and see where the lowland flood areas are, or simulate winds against the structure that you planned on building, with actual, mass, density, buoyancy, gravity, all built into your world. So you can test everything beforehand and even run simulations. And
Exactly.
on top of that, one last part is, as a building crew, we put together these modular geodesic homes. Well, now not only can you figure out if it works on your land, but we've got this demo world for you. You can come in, watch one be built, build with them, have parts that when you pull them apart and you let go of it, it just floats back into place, so you can kind of see how it's put together. And you can even have characters right there where I have recorded myself in the world, that basically shows you how to do stuff, answers questions for you. If I'm not present and available at the time, my little character is who's already basically pre-recorded this walkthrough for you.
Well, I've had this place for like a year, and I met the other day a poisonous snake. I didn't realize that springtime was till springtime. So
Just coming out.
Seems like it'd be cool to go through a construction dry run without having to deal with snakes.
Bringing it back down to earth for us.
Yeah, lot less injuries. Experimenting.
We could add a snake in the Neos world that if you do get close to it and it bit you, it can make your vision go all blurry. We could actually add those kind of programs in right now.
Yeah.
For example, we have a collaborator that has created a whole meta studio. So it's kind of, I don't know, think Joe Rogan podcast room, right? With the mics coming down and the desk and the side room for your entourage to hang out in and play a video game and sit on some couches. Well, we have a friend and collaborator that's part of our team that created a VR experience of that you can come in your avatar and actually do interviews with him.
Wow.
And in that space, there's a coffee cup. And if you take a sip of that coffee cup, it changes your avatar. So we can do things where we could actually put that snake in there as a fun thing. And if you get too close, it's like, hey, snakes are on this side of the property. And if you get too close to there, it can bite your avatar and make your, for 10 seconds, make your vision go all weird and not able to do anything, just to kind of play around with it,
Yeah, and at first, you think about these things like that's just fun and cute and funny, but in actuality, That's actually keeping people vigilant, so that you don't go into this cognitive dissonance where, like, I'm used to walking through this land and not having to worry about anything. This keeps you active, keeping your senses sharp, for movement. There's a snake. And I used to do unexploded ordnance. I used to be an unexploded ordnance technician, and so every day before you go out in the field, you have a debrief, a safety meeting, and they go over the dangers, new dangers, old dangers, possible dangers, whatever. And why not have a metaverse debrief where everybody hops in and you actually go through and see what that looks like, and actually experience the danger without having to experience the danger.
Have you guys connected with Regen NFT project out there?
Can you be more specific?
It's a project called Regen NFT.
I don't think that
people,
one. Connected with a few others named Regen, like Regen Guild.
Yeah.
Regen Guild was kind of what we're throwing ourselves around, but Regen Network is actually a ledger that's built on Cosmos right now. They're using the Cosmos SDK, and they've created some different integrations with ClimateDAO on using the carbon tokens, and they're also building a bridge right now to Polygon with Toucan. So we're excited to see the progress in that, because that's, like we're saying, we're looking to be cross-chain, and we really want to be able to kind of start slowing down that fractionalization of everything that's happening within this space. It's like, okay, cool, we got this technology, now let's go make our own marketplace and let's go do our own thing. And so that's where when we entered this hackathon, we were like, okay, let's, part of it was that the hackathon was meant to be really short. It was like meet on day 1, hack on day 2, present on day 3. And we were like, okay, so we can't get too complex with this. Where could we start? NFT marketplace with carbon offsets. So day 1, everyone's meeting each other, and of course, within this talk between people on the Planet Positive NFT Hackathon, what do you think comes up? Yeah, we're making an NFT marketplace with carbon offsets. It's like, okay, cool. So how do we, make that a little more niche, or how do we where's our angle? And that's what kind of opened us up to these other possibilities, but also reminded us, like, we're trying to work together here. We don't need 50 of the same thing existing. We need a few of really nice ones that people are behind and supportively adding to, that can be applied everywhere. So
yeah, that's the trick, is collaborating. I mean, that's, out of all these things that we can learn, to me, like, the ability to work together is the highest and most valuable skill.
Yes.
And it's basically like you're going into an ecosystem and you're picking your niche. You're like, okay, I'm going to be a frog in this ecosystem, or I'm going to be a snake,
Yeah. And
who does what, and making the forest, instead of it all being one different kinds of frogs.
Absolutely. And so that's kind of what Musashi was saying, is that we started with this idea of, let's say, just a marketplace that also happens to be focused in metaverse, VR, wearables, 3D models. Okay, or maybe a little more than just a marketplace. But what we also saw was that the smart contracts behind what we're doing are really the important, as oftentimes said in this space, the Lego block, the building block. You hear a lot about DeFi Legos, and so where we see ourselves kind of really adding to this new ecosystem, because what we see happening, especially within this RefiDAO hackathon, is that we're the teams that arrived and the projects that have come to surface are actually creating a strong sub ecosystem of the overall space, where now these projects are creating all the different elements together that would make this really cool aspect come, you know, like a lot of the VR stuff that we're talking about here, you know, is actually coming from Musashi's project, Moloch Digital and Moloch Cloudship, which is a complete separate podcast on its own,
Okay.
teaming up with ReVesture. And for example, we had people from Sunshine Validators that are doing an NFT project connected to solar panels and sharing solar panel energy reach out to us. We mentioned the ideas about, you know, building in the metaverse with solar panels, etc. They're super interested. We had another project, Dolphins, that is all about ocean cleanup and NFTs. Contact us. They want to tie in and figure out how we can all work together. And so now we have devs from those separate teams, like
Nice.
knocking heads together on what these contracts can do and how we can add more layers to one action. And so it's like all the frogs came together and said, we need to meet up and have a frog ecosystem too. And you know, it's pretty cool to see. RefiDAO did a really good job at promoting collaboration. You know, the hackathons oftentimes can be this very competitive thing, and I want bounty, and we need to get noticed, and da. But what they did a really good job at was really, in fact, like the first level of voting for awards was about who were the top individual collaborators for the entire hackathon, and then they went into projects. And so it really depended on how much you were not siloed away working on your own in your own little corners of projects, but how you were engaging and seeing what the needs were of the community, and then finding your place, you know, finding how can I most help. And so that mentality really empowered everyone's project to go like 3 steps beyond what I would have expected in such a short time.
Yeah, well, that's permaculture. Integrate, don't segregate.
Yeah.
I can't tell you a lot of times in permaculture ecosystems how many times I've run into just, you know, competitive mindset, because we were raised that way. You know, we were raised in sports and competition. So the green space can be super competitive. Like, I'm greener than you. You know?
Yeah. For a limited time after this podcast, you can join us for a ReVesture branded $2,000 course in metaverse permaculture.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just joking. That doesn't exist.
That's one of the funniest things too, man. I know more about permaculture design course instructors do, and yet I will never get a permaculture design course certificate because I don't believe in that action. You know, and they've gone so far as just like organic, you know, they're like trying to patent the term, you know, permaculture and permaculture design so that they can, you know, be the only ones to monetize it. You know, it's just like, no. That's one thing I love about Web3 and open source, you know, the way it's always been free open source software, FOSS. That's what I've always loved about these communities. Like, that's not how this works. You know, we don't keep it private and ship it later for the benefit of select few individuals to make money. You know, the goal is to benefit humanity and for us to all move forward faster. You know, go further together. You know,
absolutely. I mean, so like even before we were done with the hackathon, we're already sharing our GitHub and our code with other projects in the hackathon. You're like, yeah, man, like, we're not trying to hide this. Like, if you have a suggestion to make this better, let's do it. Like,
nice. So how can people follow and support these efforts of yours?
So right now we have a couple of ways. You can go to ReVesture.earth. That's ReVesture.earth. And that's our working website. It's in what we're saying alpha mode right now. The marketplace has been temporarily taken down or smoothing out the minting permissions, I should say. So we want to make sure to create a nice curated space that doesn't get taken over by various things that just want to create a carbon offset NFT. And there's some roadblocks to make that as seamless as possible. Some ways that we're looking at are different like membership NFTs that allow you access to mint. That's where we kind of move towards like the DAO idea, not just a shared treasury, but also a way for the community to own the marketplace and to decide who and what and how it gets used. So that part's still now being figured out. We already have the contracts able to do the offsetting and to mint NFTs. We have a video. I can share the link with you that is our hackathon entry, and we'll be having some more come out soon. You can follow us on Twitter at /ReVesture, ReVesture, and maybe also it's a good moment to say like, what the fuck does ReVesture mean? So the name or the word vesture is a reference to medieval garb of cloaking, right? A vest, a jester cloaked in a vesture. It also can mean, like the fog vesturing over the hillside. It's also in law, it refers to anything on your plot of land that isn't a tree. So grass, wheat, corn, etc. That's your vesture. So it's a little bit of a play on words, right? So going with the regenerative movement, the refi, we're trying to revesture things. We're trying to add a new cloak and a new layer to all of this that is like multi-stacked with actions into one small little click of a button.
And investment. We're investing in the future of our Earth.
Yes, we're revesting.
Okay. Awesome. Well, is there anything that I can do for you while we're on the line? How can we do a power move of support? Like, what would be the strongest way to support you guys?
Well,
Go to the website and look at it, but they have to log in with your MetaMask, by the way, listeners.
You can look at the website without logging in. The logging in with your MetaMask is if you actually want to use the marketplace, which I said is temporarily not active on there. You're more than welcome to scroll through and click through the website without connecting to a wallet. No worries there. We do want to keep it within the Web3 world, so we do have that ability. Like we said, Giveth.io is a great platform for accepting donations for different projects. So we will actually have our project up on Giveth very shortly. So that will be a great way to directly contribute to our project and kind of keep our team going. But as far as you specifically and having you here, you have this new amazing plot of land. Maybe we can do some experiments on some portions of that land and throwing it into the metaverse and having you play around with it firsthand and get feedback from you and see how this idea actually actualizes, right?
I'll be your guinea pig.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Laboratories.
I'm all about the research, for sure. The best way to learn is to do. We could talk about it all day long. Let's do it.
Exactly. And that's really what propelled our whole project forward, is the things that we were able to shoot up in one weekend, including that whole website, was we all impressed each other so much that we're like, all right, yep, we're the doers. Let's go. What else?
That's something I can give it to Nike for. I don't like Nike for a lot of reasons. So this is big for me to say something positive about Nike. But
trademark registered. This is not in any association with Nike. All the small print.
Thank you for that disclaimer. Read the fine print. But if you look into the history of Nike's marketing, they created a phenomenal marketing standard, and in particular, their motto, which was just do it. You know, no matter what it is in your mind, whatever that thought is, whatever that dream is, whatever that action is that you know you want to, you need to, you have to do, just do it.
Yeah, totally. And I would piggyback up on I would piggyback on that and say, I'm gonna encourage somebody to make me a Shia LaBeouf avatar, and we're gonna reach out to him because you know he took Nike one step farther, and you know put your money where your mouth is, Shia. I'm coming for you.
What did he do with Nike?
Oh, he created this whole meme. You don't remember the "just do it"?
No.
Oh, well, do a little YouTubing after this and search up Shia LaBeouf, just do it. And
Well, how about we get
Yeah, he brought it to meme culture for sure.
How about we get a celebrity that we like better and have them wear a shirt that says just "Dow it."
Yeah, I like that. So I don't know. Should I? No, maybe I'm gonna. There's a celebrity in mind that we're trying to encourage to come to MetaVerse 2, but I don't want to leak it quite yet until she knows that we want her there.
Yeah.
So
we want her there.
So I guess that's a good segue. Also, another way to support us and to tie in with what we have going on with ReVesture is we're part of some events at MetaVerse 2. You can look up MetaVerse 2 at metafest.metagame.wtf. That's the landing page for this year's MetaVerse. Last year was another iteration. This year's a continuation. And during MetaVerse this year, which is like a virtual conference, a little bit of a virtual conference, a little bit of a virtual festival, we'll be in different metaverse worlds in the beginning, breaking some ice, getting to know each other, having some cool games and music within Neos VR and Crypto Voxels. But then we move on to a bunch of speakers and panels about Web3, about DAOs, about the general ecosystem of everything we're trying to talk about here. And then we specifically have a couple of workshop days that teach you new Web3 tools for organizing your team, for learning how to get on to MetaMask from the ground level all the way up to, you know, how can I have the new Google Docs for my Web3 DAO? And then we have a couple of days set aside specifically for regen projects. So a lot of the things that we're talking about with ReVesture and with RefiDAO and all these things, we'll have a couple of days set aside with panels and speakers from all the different angles of that. So if you really want to dig in more and we've, you know, piqued your interest a little bit in what's going on, that's a good time to come by. Those days specifically will be June 14th through the 17th. The entire event starts on June 9th and ends on June 23rd. So ReVesture will be there. We'll be doing a NFT auction and a raffle giveaway of some of our MetaVerse NFTs. So if you want to get something and start playing around without having to throw any money at it and kind of want to see what we're talking about, that'd be a good time to come through. We'll be able to like airdrop people some NFTs and then show them right away how they can use that in the metaverse worlds.
Nice.
Yeah, and just as an encouragement to any of the listeners out there, don't be afraid, don't be shy. I was really shy when I came in, and when I finally started talking to people, I wished I had not taken so long. So, like, get a hold of us, find us in one of those outlets, whether through Twitter or Discord or the websites, and get a hold of someone and say, hey, I want to be involved with what you guys are doing. Help me. Show me how. Our conversations every single day range from some of the most out there philosophical, metaphysical conversations, rabbit holing for hours, to as simple as, I don't know how to Discord. I don't know what a MetaMask is, or let alone how to use it. I've heard DeFi, but how the hell do I find it? Let alone use it. So like basic, simple stuff. That's what we're here for. That's what we're doing. We're onboarding. And why do we want you onboarded? Because we are changing the world, and we are all guiding it. We need all the people who are going to be involved in this to be the leaders. You are the leaders. We are the people. Let's be it together.
Amen.
Beautiful. Yeah, I just sent email out to all my legacy stakeholders in my LLC I've had for many years, and it was just like crickets. And the people that wrote me back were like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, right.
It's like, it's crazy because I want to bring all these past relationships with me, but I'm not sure if they're coming.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, not all of them will, and that's okay.
Yeah. So thanks to you guys and all the people I've met this last year in the space. I've really been just going outside of my network, really going more international, just because at the end of the day, there's less liability than building this stuff in America, which I've already tried to do and failed. I actually got rejected by the state 3 times trying to incorporate a new entity. So it's just, it's a lot of the resources are going just to the legal instead of building anything,
Yeah. And that's also why we're looking at things like, we're building smart contracts and code that you can then apply to whatever you're applying it to. So, we're not trying to necessarily, I can be Joe Schmo showing up and spit out 20 pages of this awesome code for you. And I don't care if I'm a business that just gave you for free this code and you used it in your business. That's up to you. That's why there's a disclaimer that says anything you use this for is your responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's less of, let's go international to avoid things, and more of like, well, let's just build the building blocks that are by nature, they are like open to everyone. They are fucking generic. They're just, it's just like me making a fucking blog post that says, hey, if you input this into Visual Studio Code, it's going to spit you out this awesome thing. Have fun.
Well, guys, I appreciate y'all getting on. We're going into an hour and a half.
Yeah, thanks.
So I probably should cut it at this point. We can do another one in a couple months.
Yeah, I think what would be cool is, let's get you, at least personally, come in and see what MetaVerse is about. And I'm serious. Let's use you as a guinea pig. So ReVesture is going to start having we're going to start having regular Twitter spaces and meetings on our Discord that will be posted on our Twitter too. Mm-hmm. So we can continue this conversation, or if anyone is interested, can jump in with us anytime from now until the foreseeable future. So
awesome. Yeah, I'll keep reporting on progress, and I would love to, and am turning this into a lab for sure for these things. So I'll take you up on that and add me to the list for whatever conversations you're having around this, and I'll participate as much as I can.
Yeah, for sure. Ditto.
All right, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's been great.
You guys have an awesome week, and if you have any more links, maybe if you write a little blurb so I can just add it to the podcast, like whatever paragraph intro for you guys you want.
Yeah, for sure. We'll send that over to you.
I got a bunch of these links down, but if you have any, like that video of the hackathon, just shoot that over, because I got to just compile a little paragraph with some links as well as in the actual podcast a little bit.
Sounds good.
Not that we had any disasters or anything that needs to be corrected. So I would call it a successful endeavor at this point.
And
for sure.
For Tommy and I to only drop one F-bomb, that's really good.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't clock you, but I think there was more than one.
Oh, maybe not. That just shows you how much it slips out without knowing.
It's all good. It's all good, guys. All right. Well, I appreciate you. Thanks for what you're doing. I'm really, really excited to see what fruit comes through this, and I'm really glad to share this mission. We have, we're on the same mission, so
absolutely
see other people to like dream and feel like something needs to happen, and see other people doing it that are smarter. It's just a dream come true. So thanks for the work you're doing, and Planet, thanks you as well. Okay, I hope you got all that, everybody. If you have any comments, use the comment link there in the show notes. Connect with these guys. Connect Telegram, Twitter, Discord, whatever. This is all about connecting with each other. So if you have a regenerative project you want to tell us about, use the comment section, question section in the show notes. So love to hear what you're doing. And like I said, gave plenty of links for you to do your own research. And hope you got a lot of value out of this, and let us know if you did. And if you didn't, let us know that too. So love to see how I can improve. This is probably my 11th podcast. I apologize that I did unlock ads, and hope hope Anchor doesn't interject ads where I didn't put them. I did cut halfway through the show and add an ad, and hopefully it's somewhat seamless. So this is a learning process, so appreciate your patience. So have an awesome week, and we'll have another podcast coming at you in about 2 weeks. So love and blessings.